Okay everyone, so now we are discussing the topic that is topology. Topology is also called the network topology. Well, the way in which we are connecting the network, that is called the topology, or there is one more definition that we say that it is the geometric representation. Geometric means just like we know that we are having in the geometry, we are having triangle, we are having rectangle. Similar way, if we are going to connect the computers, so that is the geometric representation of computers. So that one is called the topology, in which we are going to connect the multiple computers in some fashion. And now I am telling you few of the topologies by which we are going to connect the different LANs and the MANs. So in the local area network and the metropolitan area network, we are going to use this topology. So the first topology which is very much popular is the mesh topology. So first we are learning is the mesh topology. Well, the name is mesh. Mesh means some kind of grid. Grid means it is totally bulk of the wires. So if every computer is connected with each other, that is called the mesh topology. I am taking one example to make you understand. Let us suppose that we are having the 5 computers. Let us suppose C1, C2, C3, C4 and C5. So these are the 5 computers. Now mesh topology says that every computer is connected with every other computer. So I'm starting with C1. C1 is connected with C2. It is also connected with C3, then C4 and C5. Now talking about C2, C2 is already connected with C1. It is connected with C3, then C4 and C5. Further, if I talk about C3, it is already connected with C2 and C1. Then it's connected with C4 and C5. Then C4 is already connected with C3, C2 and C1. So it is connected with C5. Now C5 is already connected with C1, C2, C3 and C4. So when every computer is connected with each other, then that is called the mesh topology. Now there are different number of connections. If I say that the number of connections, so there is a formula. So connections which are possible inside a mesh topology are n into n minus 1 by 2, where n stands for the number of nodes or the computer. Let us suppose in that case we are having the 5 computer. So that will be equal to 5 into 5 minus 1 by 2, which is equal to 5 into 4 by 2, and that is equal to 10. So we are checking whether 10 connections are there or not. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 connections are there. So if you are going to find out the number of connections which are possible in the mesh topology, these are the n into n minus 1 by 2. Now we are going to learn few of the advantages of the mesh topology. Now the first advantage of the mesh topology is that it eliminates the traffic problem. Now traffic means what? Let us suppose that we are having 5 computers and they are connected through only one wire. Now on that particular wire there will be whole traffic. But now see this case. If the C2 want to communicate with C1, now there is a direct wire placed. You can see that there is a direct wire, and with the help of that direct wire they can communicate. So there is a direct wire which is present. Now if the direct connection is there, obviously no traffic. Similarly, there are other cases possible where they can communicate. Now next thing which is the advantage is the robustness. Robustness means finding the fault is very easy. Means the network is very robust that we can find the fault easily and we can correct them, because every computer is connected with each other. Now let us suppose that the link is broken in between C4 and C5, so they are not communicating. But the network is still working because there is another link which is present from C5, C3 to C4. So they can communicate like this in this particular path. And we can easily find out that this particular link is broken. So fault isolation is also very easy. Then the next thing about the advantage, that is the privacy and security. Now, if we are having one-to-one connection, as we have seen that between C2 and C1, there is a direct connection. There is no broadcasting. There is no other person involved. Then obviously, if I am sending data directly to some particular person, or if C1 want to send the data to C2, direct connection is there. Then obviously it is more private and more secure. So these two things are very much popular. Now, fault identification is easy. Obviously, if everybody is connected to each other, the 5 computers are having all possible connection. So if anywhere we are having the problem, we can easily find out. Now, there are few disadvantages also of the mesh topology. So the first disadvantage is the expensive. Well, mesh topology is very expensive. As we are talking about the connections, we are saying that C1 is connected with the C5. So how these connections are possible? They are nothing but all the Ethernet cables we are applying. So assume that connecting 5 computers, we are having 10 cables, and assume 100 computers are there. So to connecting the 100 computer, there are so many wires which are required, and to implement those wires, it is very expensive. And although it is very expensive, there is one more thing, it is difficult to install. So it is very much expensive, very much difficult to install. Why difficult to install? Because there are so many connections possible. And to connect them, if you are connecting a LAN cable into the port, and maybe if it is not connected at the proper position, what will happen? That will be a blunder, obviously. So to connecting n number of cables is totally difficult. And also there should be high space requirement. So space requirement is more. So very huge amount of space is required, because you assume that in your computer lab there are 60 computers, and to connect all these 60 computers there are multiple wires. Every computer is connected. You see that below the floor there are multiple wires are going, and the more cables are required. So cabling is more. So large cabling. So that is the mesh topology, which is actually the impossible to implement, because very much high cost is required to implement that.